The main lesson is clear. This is not a good result for the parties that defend Europe, including the presidential majority. The far-right parties, which in recent years have opposed so many of the advances made possible by our Europe, whether in terms of economic recovery, common protection of our borders, support for our farmers, support for Ukraine, these parties are making headway across the continent. In France, for example, their representatives account for almost 40% of votes cast. For me, who has always believed that a united, strong, independent Europe is good for France, I cannot accept this situation. The rise of the nationalists, demagogues, is a danger for our nation, but also for our Europe, for France's place in Europe and in the world.
Chers compatriots, the French people have spoken, and this historic election shows that when the people vote, the people win. Le peuple gagne. By giving the National Rally over 32% of the vote, the French have just given us the highest score of any party in 40 years. It's a real thrill to see this great popular force rise up all over the country. First and foremost, I'd like to offer my warmest congratulations to Jordan Bardella for his excellent campaign, for the months he spent traveling around France and meeting our compatriots, and for his ability to resist the strategy of lies and slander that was so often used against us. This vote by the French people in the only national election of Emmanuel Macron's second term is without appeal.
Yes. The extreme right is both the impoverishment of the French people and the downgrading of our country. At the end of the day, I can't pretend nothing's happened. This situation is compounded by a fever that has taken hold of public and parliamentary debate in our country in recent years. A disorder, which I know worries you, sometimes shocking, and I have no intention of giving into it. This is why, having carried out the consultations provided for in Article 2 of our Constitution, I have decided to give you back the choice of our parliamentary future through the vote. I am therefore dissolving the National Assembly this evening. In a few moments, I will sign the decree calling the legislative elections, which will be held on June 30th for the first round, and on July for the second round. This decision is serious, weighty, but it is above all an act of confidence.
The President of the Republic, responding to Jordan Bardella's call, has just announced the dissolution of the National Assembly. And thus, the French people will return to the polls in a few weeks' time. I can only welcome this decision, which is in line with the logic of the institutions of the Fifth Republic. We're ready for it. After the 2022 parliamentary elections, where the National Gathering emerged as the main opposition, we are fully prepared for them.
Let the sovereign people have their say. Nothing could be more Republican. It's better than any arrangement or precarious solutions. This is a time for indispensable clarification. Confidence in France, which in the face of harsh times always knows how to unite and resist in order to shape the future, rather than retreat or give in to all kinds of demagoguery. In the next few days, I will set out the direction I believe is right for the nation. I've heard your message, your concerns, and I will not leave them unanswered.
These European elections have confirmed our movement as the major force for change in France. We're ready to take power if the French put their trust in us in the forthcoming legislative elections. We are ready to put the country back on its feet, ready to defend the interests of the French, ready to put an end to mass immigration, ready to make the purchasing power of the French a priority, ready to begin the reindustrialization of the country. In short, we're ready to turn the country around, ready to revive France. Tonight's message, including that of dissolution, is also addressed to the leaders of Brussels.
Together with others, we will build a bastion against the extremes from the left and from the right. We will stop them. This is for sure.
You can be sure of one thing. My only ambition is to be useful to the country I love so much. My only vocation is to serve you. I know I can count on you to turn out en masse to vote on June 30th and July 7th. France needs a clear majority to act with serenity and harmony. Being French means rising to the occasion. To rise to the times when they demand it, to know the price of voting and the taste of freedom, acting responsibly, whatever the circumstances. It means choosing to write history rather than endure it. Now is the time. Long live the Republic, long live France.
This great victory for patriotic movements is in line with history, which sees everywhere in the world the return of nations of protections, and because we are people and want to remain so. It closes this painful globalist parenthesis, which has caused so much suffering for people around the world. We see the dawn of a new day for all the nations and peoples of Europe. We welcome it with optimism and responsibility. I see it as proof of lucidity, courage, and independence. These very French qualities that will be so essential to the country's future recovery. As tonight's result has forced Emmanuel Macron to return to the polls, I call on the French people to come and join us, to form around the majority nation restoration in the service of the only cause, France. Qui guide nos pas, la France.
My dear compatriots, in metropolitan France, overseas and abroad, by enabling the National Rally Party to exceed 30% of the vote, the French have given their verdict, and it's a resounding one. We welcome this result with humility, with gravity, and with a spirit of great responsibility. In an election, the establishment has heavily backed the war, including the President of the Republic. Tonight, our compatriots have expressed a desire for change, but also a path for the future. This clear message, addressed to Emmanuel Macron and European leaders, marks our country's determination to see the European Union change direction towards greater democracy, protection and consideration for the peoples of Europe. Tonight, a wind of hope blew across France, and it's only just begun. With this historic score, given to the National Rally, the French have expressed their attachment to France, its sovereignty, its identity, its security, and its prosperity. Over and above their support for a Europe of nations, tonight, the French voted in favor of regaining control of our migration policy, the return of the state's authority over every square meter of our territory, the preservation of their purchasing power, defending our jobs, our industries, and our farmers in the face of unfair competition. These are the priorities of the patriotic MEPs elected this evening at my side, continuing the work of Marine Le Pen and our fellow MEPs, Marine Le Pen and French MPs in the National Assembly and Senate. Between the presidential majority and the leading opposition party tonight reflects a stinging disavowal and a clear rejection of the policies pursued by Emmanuel Macron and his government. The President of the Republic cannot remain deaf to the message sent out by the French people this evening. First and foremost, he must abandon the agenda he was preparing to implement. The de-indexation of retirement pensions, the new rise in energy prices starting this summer, the breakup of our social model, and the implementation of the Asylum and Immigration Pact, which aims to intensify the distribution of migrants across France. Emmanuel Macron is a weakened president, until now deprived of an absolute majority in the Assembly, and now restricted in his means of action within the European Parliament. to preserve, to persevere in a democratic impasse.
Dans une impasse démocratique.
The President of the Republic must choose to defer to the spirit of the institutions. We solemnly ask him to take note of this new political situation, to return to the French people, and organize new legislative elections. This route, unprecedented for the current government, marks the end of a cycle and day one of the post-Macron era, which it is up to us to build. I would like to express my gratitude to the RN militants for their unfailing commitment.
Sans faille.
To all the French people who have honored us with their support. I'm thankful to all French citizens who support us and have entrusted us with preparing for change. To everyone, I want to say that with Marine Le Pen, our ambition goes beyond that of a simple political party. Our aim is to bring together all French people who want to put the nation back on its feet and enable France to regain
De
hope.
renouer avec l'espérance.
I invite, this evening, all French people, wherever they come from, to join us and work alongside us.
Travailler à nos côtés.
The road to renewal will be demanding, but we are ready. We're ready to lead France.
Vive la
Long
République
live the
et vive
Republic.
la France.
If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to spread more awareness. Share your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation. Your engagement helps us bring more content to light. Remember, stay informed, stay engaged.